Anyway, can you help me? So when you are developing your application, you have to ensure your application is secure. Security means if somebody is accessing it, nobody can. First thing is nobody can hack the, nobody can hack the data.
Hack the data, yeah.
Yeah, that is the one thing. Second thing is only authenticated and authorized means everybody should not reach to the application. Only authenticated user. No? Once you are authenticated, then your power comes in the picture. Power means role. He had this question about regarding cross origin resource sharing, right? CORS. So what Spring Security does? The Spring Security is mainly popular for authentication and authorization purpose. You got a point? Authentication, apply. Authentication and authorization purpose. So you can implement it. Guys, you have to write minimal code to implement authentication authorization. It gives you the hook where you can write your code and your program, yeah, application will be able to implement authentication authorization. Anybody have any question regarding point number 1 and 2? My dear audience.
Authorization, can you?
Yeah, authorization means in authentication, you pass username password. It will validate it and it will, navigate you to the dashboard. Or in authentication, sometime it issue token. If you talk about REST API based authentication. Today example, the authentication which I'm going to talk is the form based authentication. You know, form based. You will have a login page, right? So you understand the difference between basic and form based authentication. When I was beginner, then that time I was not able to understand, right? Form based and basic security. Form based means you are sending username password here as a form. Hmm?
Yes.
So in Spring Security, you can use form-based security as well as basic. Basic means you are not using form. You are sending data as a REST API. So where you will send your username password, man, you have to send it in header as a base 64 encoded. Basic mean what you do? I mean, username password you are sending, but you are sending by converting into base 64 encoded by encoding it. Point number 1, 2, 3 is clear to everybody. Spring support both basic we use for what purpose? When you are exchanging data in raw format like REST API, then we use basic. Otherwise, if you use Spring MVC web application, then we use form based security. Anybody have any question, query? And आप लोग बोला करो, you guys are not replying
So,
sometime.
Nagendra, when we authentications, when we send this user ID and the password in the form of in the login form, then why do we need the authorizations? Because it already give you the entry in this dashboard, right?
Sure. Actually, I'm working on that nowadays. Uh, Authorization, actually, man, permission. Everybody should not able to perform every operation. How you
So
can
that's
limit it?
you're saying that once you get the authorization, that's depending on the role, that's give the
Yeah,
authentication
permission. Yeah,
permission for
role.
the certain
Yeah,
application to apply
yeah.
use. Okay.
Yeah, man. Suppose in same application,
Mm,
you can perform some update operation, which I cannot
right.
do it. Only you can do it
Right.
because you have authorization for it. So
Okay.
we have concept of role and permission. Permission means
Right.
role is a big thing. In one role you can associate multiple permission, right?
Yes.
So permission is a role itself, but it is the part of the role. You think like this.
So after
Okay.
authentication, there would be authorization, right?
Very nice. He wants to
Yes.
say authorization only comes in the picture after
Authentication.
authentication. Yeah, you cannot
Authentications. Yes.
you cannot show your power
Before
without
the
Uh,
authentication.
authentication. In authentication, if something is wrong, normally we get status code 401. In authorization, we get code 403. Please remember it. When 403 comes, it means you have problem regarding authorization.
Authentication.
For
Authent
authorization.
authorization.
403 authorization. 401,
One
Authentication.
authentication.
405 method mismatch, get and post.
Okay.
415. 415. This is regarding data conversion issue. Right? You you don't have, you haven't set the proper MIME type, content type, right? 404 you know very well.
Yeah, 404. Yeah, it's a mapping issue.
409 conflict. Yeah, so no need to remember like this.
So once again,
Nice.
both basic and form based. Once again, can you repeat that? I didn't
I'll show
clearly
you
view
both.
the picture.
A form based means in our application which we have यहाँ पे, here we have form based because we are authenticating using login form.
Yeah,
Let me show you. Last time I don't know. Oh, I made it as a microservices. So first of all, I need to run my Eureka.
oh,
Eureka
yeah.
again. Maybe पूछ रहे थे what Eureka server is. What is a Kafka? How you are making communication between microservices, right? The Kafka could be also one solution. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So where is my Eureka server? Let's run it.
Kafka, Unica service, microservice.
Kafka is basically a distributed streaming platform which is used to provide a communication between two microservices. It is acting as a message broker. We have concept of similar to Kafka. We have kinesis in case of AWS platform. Kinesis, that is again message broker. But why I'm running? Because this application is you know deployed as a microservices. I'm running Spring application, Spring Boot application. Ah, I can type it. It's running. It's running. It's running. It's running. Hello. ये देखो, this is यहाँ पे to supply username password to Spring Security. I'm using username and password. So that's why it is called
Form based.
form based. And in case of basic, you will not have a form. You will send data into request header. I'll show you that also in case of REST API. It's clear to you now? Aya?
Yeah,
Yes.
The first of all, you should know the benefit of Spring Security. Spring Security is basically used for authentication authorization fashion, and it works authentication authorization in declarative fashion. No need to write much code. It supports form based and basic both kind of. It has support of both. Fourth, session timeout. Session timeout पता है आपको? Session timeout is if you log in into the application and you are idle for 30 seconds, yeah, 60 seconds in banking application, and after being idle and you click here and there, normally what happen? You are
Session.
redirected to some other page. Your session is timeout. Please click here to log in again. So
mhm.
this session timeout, if you don't have Spring Security, you have to write program for it, Arun. Like Spring Security,
Yeah.
mein, you can do this with the help of only configuration. Which one is better, writing program from the scratch or already framework mein feature is there? You have to just configure it.
That's a configuration is a lot better.
Yeah. And fifth one is concurrency. Concurrency means same user and ID and password. How many instances you want to allow? पता है banking application में your username password only one people can log in with same credential. But in Gmail you can give me your you can
Yes.
give me your username password. I can log in also. You can also log in. Parallel it allowed multiple logins. Gmail में. How many instances allow parallel? Nobody knows. I don't know because I can log in my
So
Gmail
isn't
account.
that the problem for this application with
देख
application program?
बैंकिंग देख जहाँ पे
Because that's
That
right
depends
now
yeah.
on the application. I think.
where your transaction involves. In transaction, people does not allow because there could be a problem.
Yeah, because the security issues that because maybe
होगा.
there's some unknown
But in
persons might get
Gmail,
that. Yeah.
but Gmail में how people can log in? If you give me if you can give me your email username and password, I can log in, man. There is no security, right? But in Gmail and all, money is not involved, so it allow concurrency.
Okay.
So Spring Security allow concurrency,
No man, this concurrency
not
setting
allow,
you
right?
can do it. You can Spring security is not about allowing. It's all about configuration. You want to allow concurrency or not. Spring
Oh,
can
okay.
do it concurrency, but Spring does not allow
So the
concurrency.
open sources is okay for the concurrency, right?
Yeah, baby,
Open sources.
money is not involved. Like your Gmail,
Okay, yeah,
Facebook, money is not involved.
right.
Then you can use concurrency. But if you see railway website or you see flight website where you make a reservation, so it won't be allowed there. All this thing concurrency. I know railway reservation, flight reservation. I know that much. The support of ldap authentication. For authentication, username, password. You tell me what you have used. Database, MySQL, where you store three things: username, password, and roles. Yes, But
Yes.
but you can use ldap also. ldap is another database server where you store data in the tree format. Which format? Tree. If you want to store hierarchical user information where one people may be reporting other, like in company, right? TCS, SCL, the big companies, Wipro, and even IBM, big company, they have hierarchy in the organization. You remember hierarchy? When you are
Yes.
joining software engineer,
Yes.
Yeah,
then senior
hierarchy.
senior software engineer, then team lead, many many. So
Depending
Reporting
on
because
your
manager.
designation, that's your
yeah. So if
hierarchy.
you want to maintain the hierarchical information, ldap is the right choice. ldap is a server similar to MySQL, but in MySQL we use relational database, and this is tree structure based. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to use in Spring, Spring has good support
So
of it.
what is the
Support
what
of
is the
block
benefit of LDAP uh,
over the MySQL.
comparatively to MySQL? Yes.
बताया ना कि
No.
अगर if you want to maintain the relationship hierarchy right between the user who is reporting to whom, right, for those kind of information ldap is better choice. Authentication authorization, right? So ldap does not store employee kind of man. It store only login detail and profile detail. That's it.
Okay.
So for authentication authorization purpose you can use ldap. That's good choice. Okay, 6 point is clear to everybody.
So are the
Mhm.
companies using the LDAP
Yeah,
database
of course, sir. Not
just
every
for the
company.
just okay?
But
Because
nowadays, I'm not saying, but now I'm not talking about every company, but I have seen some. Okay, some,
okay.
and I don't know much reason. Reason I'll already explain to you. Point number 7, support cars. Oh man, this is one of the question asked in the interview, right? He said my application in Angular running in one domain, my REST API is another domain. So how you can solve the cars issue? In Spring we have a notation. Remember, allow
Annotations.
notation is there. Cross origin. दिखाऊं? There is a
Yeah.
notation, man. Cross origin, which you can put on your REST API. Please help me. Where we can put? Can you see this? This notation. यहाँ पे I put it. His next
Okay.
question was which notation I can use and where you can put it. So of course you have to put on the controller. Okay. Then here you can mention the origin, whom you want to allow, right? You want to allow to make call to REST API from which domain? Star means?
Oh,
I don't. Star means it doesn't matter. It can come from any domain. So cars issue won't become right. Maximum age of the duration preferred response. But you control the value response header. I don't know what it is even. By default, this is set to 30 minutes. Max age is one of the attribute of it. Cache duration of pre-flight response. A response header setting this tip. I don't know. So this is very broad. I don't know. So you
so
got this
what is the
much?
max? It was there. The maximum is in. So
Maximum age though that is deprecated, right? 30 minutes is there. Those attributes were deprecated. They have this attribute, right? 30 minutes by default.
yeah.
30 minutes means I think. Oh, it's something which is going to be cached at the client side.
Okay, setting this pre response well. Pre-flight.
Okay. So let's come to the point. You understand the meaning of the CARS? Yep.
Once
It
again,
means
please.
CARS allow one application to access the REST API from other application on different domain. Suppose your GUI is running on www.apnabank.com, right? And this
Mhm.
API is running on some other domain, www.abcd.com. तो you want to provide communication between two different domain, तो यहाँ पे देखो स्टार लिखना होगा, right? Otherwise CORS issue will come. CORS आएगी problem. CORS means cross origin resource sharing.
So it's different applications.
Yeah. If
Connection
both are
different.
running on
Okay.
the same domain, you will not face the issue. Data level
Okay.
security. देखो data level security means when you are fetching the data, only I am supposed to access my data, which belongs to me, right? I am not supposed to access other people data. Here
Right.
on this could be a problem if you don't implement. I'm working in the project, right? If you don't, you are not smart, you can have this kind of problem, man. I can
Uh-huh.
see your data by typing some ID. I'm manually sending the request, man, like that. I may be able to edit your data, right? So when you are
Yes.
editing the data, first of all, you have to ensure that data belongs to you or not, right? When you're sending the request, you may be sending your credential. So I should say, see the data which you want to edit against your credential. The data belongs to you or not, then only I'll allow you to edit it. So in Spring, we have this thing, ready-made, Arun. You have to just use some annotation, pre-filter or post-filter. You can apply in service layer. Spring Security supported out of the box in the framework itself. Line number 8 is clear. Point
Yeah,
number
data
8.
level security. Yes.
देखो मैं बता रहा हूँ इसके बाद अगर आपको नहीं आता है तो it's your problem, man. Nobody can teach you like this. No, why I'm confident? Because Spring Security, first time I have seen in 2006-7. You know what I'm saying? That time we were using XML based. Annotation came from Spring 2.5. Hmm?
Okay.
So 8 point the 2 it support CSRF by default. CORS, cross site request forgery. The CRS by default is enabled. It ensure nobody can make fake request. Remember when some form is displayed to you, you can make the fake form, yes or no, and you can make the request to the application. Mhm.
Yes.
So CSRF ensure when form is generated, it issue a token also in the form. And when you send the request, you have to send that token with the request also. That token will be matched to the server. In this form which you are submitting, it is being generated from this application or not. So that is the feature 8. So in total 9, right? 8, 9. Uh, see point number 9 at the bottom. It support multiple password encoder. Mr. Hero.
So I have a questions on number 8 too. Will there be the standard tokens or will generate this variables token every time when you send the
No,
form?
no, no, very big token. It would be always generating some new. And point number, it support multiple pass. Password encoder, Mr. Friends. When you save your password in database, you cannot save as it is. Yes or no? Security threat. Anybody can, sir. Anybody can open the table and see the password. So password you should be always encoded, and this should be one way encoding, right? That's why Arun in banking application. Do you think you can recover your password? Same password? No. It
No,
will
you
always
have
give
to
you an option to set new password, and even
new.
bank does not allow to set password. I know even last three password kind of. You cannot set it, right? Last password.
Yeah, probably that's you cannot set the same old passwords. You have
Yeah,
to
same thing
create a new
happening.
one.
Yeah, new one always. And when you're creating the password, there is some password rules. It should be alphanumeric, one digit, two digits, some special character, some letter should be in capital letter, right? That kind of
Yes.
particular
Yes.
format. I have done with this, and Spring also support message level security, which comes with SOAP protocol. I'm not talking on that. Hmm? Hello, you got this
Yes.
much?
Mhm.
So at least you would be able to answer what is the benefit of Spring Security is.
Yes.
Now I'm going to show you how it is implemented in your projects, right? Yeah. Like in order
And again,
to implement,
before that, like I'm still not clear on that authorization and the difference between authentication and authorization.
okay. Like, see, when you are logging into the application, right? You log in, I log in. So you may be seeing two options only. I'm seeing 10 options, right?
Mhm.
You are also entering username password. I'm also entering username password. But you are seeing only one option. I'm seeing five options because of role authorization. So you can define different role in our application, like customer role. Na? The customer can
Mhm.
perform all the operation. No, admin can perform all the option, right? Super admin, employee. These are the role. As per the role, you can give the permission to them.
Okay.
It. So when you are defining role, it is a part of the authorization. Accordingly, he would be authorized to access the functionality. Mm.
Mhm. Okay.
And authorization, I have worked a lot. Right now, I'm working on it. Right, there is some role who can perform certain operation on certain table. Arun. So that mapping I'm doing in
Yes.
permission. That is the part of the authorization. So I'm doing it. देखो मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ कि when somebody is logging as per his user ID, I am fetching his all the permission and I am using Google
Yes.
caching. Will provide a library of doing memory caching. I'm using it. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm using Google caching, right? Why caching, man? Because permission I need again and again.
Yes.
Though it's you cannot fetch permission again and again from database because when you fetch data, same data again and from database, it is CPU intensive task, right? It will take, it will hamper the performance. Yes, you know, because when you
Yes.
are hitting
Yes.
database again, it will utilize your more CPU. It's a CPU intensive task, right? So it will hamper the performance. So it's you tell me, it's better to fetch data again and again from database, or it's better to put in the cache, in the RAM memory.
It's it's better to put in the
Yes.
cache. Cache.
That's it. So I'm using caching also. So you can also implement it. Caching में भी एक caching का नाम सुना होगा Redis caching. Redis caching is one of the great caching. It supports distributed caching, not local caching. Distributed means if you run in the cluster, you can get the benefit of it, right?
So now again, like what's the difference between caching and like cookies? Are those like two
They,
different terminology?
both are different things. Caching is used in the in concept of web application at the client side in the
Mm-hmm.
browser. So
Mm-hmm.
cookie is the basically way to store data in the client side, small data. If you want to store some data in the key value format, you can use cookie. The cookie is the
Mm-hmm.
concept to store the data at the client side. Got it?
Is there any security in cookies?
कोई security नहीं है. Cookie can, if you store data in the cookie, it could cause the security issue. So sensitive information, important information, we should not save in the cookie.
So
Hello?
like, uh, I mean, like if caching and cookies are saving like the client like data in the client side, like they are pretty much like doing same thing though, isn't it?
You can
So
say
you
that.
said that.
Client side caching, but client side caching has minimal data, man. You cannot rely on that, okay? So client side caching and cookie, you can say similar thing, that's fine. But caching is the concept, right? And cookie is the
Caching,
way to
okay,
store data in the file system. Are you following me? But caching data is not in the file system, it's in the memory. It's clear to you?
right, okay,
Data is always in the
and
memory, but cookie data is always in file system. That's difference. That's differences.
okay, okay, makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. In
And
cookie, what
like
you are doing?
yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. That's
So
fine.
like so you earlier like you were talking about like the headers, like like I just like I don't I want to have like clear picture behind like how the data sent by the client and like how the like server side will receive it, like who is playing role to communicate those data. So
Yeah,
say like
I'll show you. Yeah, I got REST API authentication. I'll teach you that. Basically, your concern is you want to send data from the client and you want to see what data is in the header, what is in the body, when it goes to the server, how server process it. That's your concern.
yes. So because like in the network tab, like there are some like header, preview, and response, right? But in
That's the code.
header we have like requested URL, and I get
Mm-hmm.
that requested URL portion,
Mm-hmm.
uh but the header part, request header part, like there are some like lots
Many
of
things. Host is
property,
there, content
right?
type is there, accept is there, encoding is there, accept language is there, agent is there.
Yeah, like those things are not clear. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'll show you that. Okay, when you debug it, then you'll come to know. क्या नहीं इसमें जैसा
Okay.
accept बताया था accept means what kind of data you are expecting from the server. Content type means what kind of data you want to send to the server, right? Encoding, which encoding mechanism you are using. Encoding is the no, where we have encoding technique, right? When you type something on the computer, right, you use some encoding. UTF-8. Normally, everywhere we are using in UTF-8. Q, because ASCII, Latin. ASCII
Yeah,
support
yeah.
only English, right? If you want to support,
Mhm.
there is a Latin also, ISO 8859. तो आप लोगों को लग रहा है मुझे how I know all those things, right? Because I am working in the projects, not from teaching here and there, right? I know encoding because in 2009 I was working with the mainframe. Mainframe has different encoding, right? Mainframe machine has its own encoding mechanism like IBM 104, IBM 1024, IBM 1048. You know what I'm saying? अपना है. So whatever content you can open on the Windows, do you think you can same content you can open on the mainframe? No. If you open it, your character will be jumbled. Hmm? Encoding means how you are encoding your this information in the machine language, right? जैसे Japanese. Japanese को you cannot store in Latin. You cannot store in ISO 889. If you want your application should support multiple language like English, Japanese, Chinese. So you should use which encoding mechanism? UTF-8. You guys are not replying.
That means all the language will be encoded and changed to the
Yeah,
different language.
support करता है, right? Otherwise your character will be get jumbled.
Mhm.
Hmm? So what you need to do when you are having some character, right? You should store in the machine language, and from machine language you should able to retrieve it back. So in memory you will encode it, right? Jैसे suppose you are saying hello. So hello will be not stored as it is on the machine. It has to be converted into some machine language, right? There encoding comes in the picture.
Yeah.
आप लोग हाँ ना बोलो. You understand what is the benefit of Spring Security is? Authorization is clear? Who asked this question?
Yes, Nagin, this is Rupesh. Yep.
This is clear to you?
Yes,
Yeah.
Nagin. Yep.
डरो नहीं. You guys are asking good questions. Now we have to
So
see the practical.
just want to make sure, like again, like I don't know if I missed it, but we have not got through the like the client side debugging, right? The
No, we haven't talked about much.
okay,
But you should know. We can do that. थोड़ा you should know,
okay,
right?
yeah, sure.
So let's talk on that. A. About how to implement Spring Security. If you want to implement Spring Security, first thing which you have to do is add the dependency in the POM. Apply.
Mhm.
Is if
Uh-huh.
you want to use Spring Security, I'm using in service layer. Why? Because service layer, if you add it, it will be available in REST API and Spring MVC. So this is I'm using Spring Boot. My God, you are thinking? No. You have to add this dependency Spring Boot Starter Security. आप लोग को बोलना होगा. This I am using to implement Spring Security. So if you want to implement Spring Security, how to start with? Any guess? First thing you have to add the dependency in the POM. ये वाली. Anybody have any question query? But this is the way to add dependency in Spring Boot. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
In
yes.
Spring
Yes.
Boot, all the dependencies start with Spring Boot Starter. ये common होता है.
Uh-huh.
You can check it. The first thing you have to do this. And what then? Uh, If you add it, you can see, right, which dependency comes. Please help me. It would be downloading Spring Security 5. In my project, I have migrated Spring Security 4 to 5 recently. I know what benefit it has. People, can you see this? Everywhere we are using Spring 5, so in this Spring Security 5 should be there. Can you see this? So which version of the Spring Security we are using?
5.08.
5, right? That's nice. Second, you have to, इसके बाद you have to create a always Spring Security file. Arun, this is the approach. So,
Yes.
but here you can do in XML, but here I'm doing Java-based configuration. What, man? When you define all the setting in Java, it is called Java-based security, and we use which notation here? EOL. And this is enabling some special annotations, right? Enable web service security. So it is enabling Spring annotation, security notation. And this we can use if you want to use the annotation on method for that purpose, authorization purpose. So this is the Spring security configuration. You have to always make it, man.
Okay. Configuration.
File. You have to always make it.
So that enable global method security, this should be in a controller.
You will put some annotation for that purpose. So there is some annotation pre-authorized, post-authorized. I'll show you that. Okay. After that, here nobody can mug it, right? Here I'm adding this. This is supposed to use a database, right? Service layer, which will allow you to talk to database, right? Arun?
Yes. Yes.
ये जो class है, this is a special class designed for Spring Security to talk to the DB. This is the password encoder, man. When password comes, you can encode using this
Better
big
annotation.
password
Something like
encoder. This service. This service you have configured. Spring Boot gives you by default. Spring Boot gives you by default. बस auto-fire करो. And like here we have some setting. A setting important and nobody can mug it and remember it. Like here I have disabled. ये हमेशा देखोगे Arun.
Yes.
99.99% cases you have see this disabled. CSRF I'm not using it. REST API may it will be disabled for sure. I mean this is only applicable for web application, right? If you are using REST APIs, cross-site request forgery must be
Enabled.
disabled
Oh, this
in
one
REST
is.
API. REST API. When I was migrating from Spring 4 to Spring 5, right? No, in my case, migration was Spring 3 to Spring 5. Then I have disabled it there. That was one of the change. I
Okay.
think this question was also asked in the interview today. His question was how you can make some URL public. So you can, here mention size request and any matcher. You can mention here permit all. I mean, you cannot remember anything. You can say in configuration, I can put those endpoint as a permit all. Arun, you cannot
Okay.
remember like if you have to do HTTP, a thrice request, any matcher. Sorry, and matcher. Nobody can do it, man. Hmm?
Yeah.
You can only remember permit all. Something we have to do in Spring configuration file. Done.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yes.
So in this, this configuration is saying if you are typing anything in the admin in the URL, so you should have admin role. If you are typing employee, you should have employee or admin role, right? Or
Yes.
has any authority. And like here, this information, here you have mentioned, Arun, which should be a login page, right? So you up when you type this URL pattern, this should be a login page. If you understand, say understand, I say I don't understand.
Yeah. Customer login page. Yeah.
They say login page, login page, login page. So you should always open your form login page with this login page. So this is the logical mapping which you have defined in somewhere in the controller. कहाँ पे nobody knows, only God knows. So can you see this? Arun? Yeah.
Yes.
So you have this is logical URL. The logical URL and physical URL is the same. That is different story, right? So here for presentation layer we are using Thymeleaf, not GSP. Okay. Because time life is faster than JSP. Okay. It's clear, man. So this should be your login page, right? Which you have defined here. Any guess? Yeah. So when you type it, you guys are not replying. So you're getting this login page. You get a login page, Mister. Important, man. A login page.
Yes.
Okay, if you open the login page, here we have username.
Right.
This name is username and password. Arun, इसमें तुम देखोगे ना, there is a no URL, man. URL action is not there. Why? Because I know if you don't give the action name will be same as this page. That is understood, right? And method is post. Arun, this
Yes.
mapping you will never see anywhere. True? Because whatever you have done it for get, automatically it will be applicable for post also.
Post.
Arun, because of it, it is understood, man. Don't try to look this mapping because you will not get anywhere. You got the idea? Nice. Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
So when you enter the username password, right? Normally your call goes to the controller. इस case में नहीं. When you hit your username password login button, where it will go?
Controller.
It will go to the space. No, no. Normally it
No,
goes to the controller because this mapping you have done, right? You have mapped to the controller. When you click on this, get method के लिए map किया है. What? Get के लिए. But post के लिए, do you think we have mapping? No, no, no. We are not applying sometime. इसीलिए आप लोग को आता भी नहीं है. Method equals to post. So username, password, and method post, and this URL is mapped somewhere. Given? No,
No,
it's not
not
mapped anywhere.
post.
But Spring Security will assume when you click on it, there is a setting. Can you see this? Yep. Because of this
Yeah.
setting, yeah, na, user detail service. Because of setting, it will go to this class.
Okay. Automatically that's this.
Automatically, it will go. That I want to teach you. Right? Yeah.
So
Hello.
no need to map for the post. Right?
No, it is understood. Controller will not come in the picture at all. This case, directly you will go to this, right? Because in Spring Security already we have this configuration.
Configuration.
Because of this line, like यहाँ पे already it is configure. When you submit your form, it will go to which service layer. Okay, man. यहाँ पे. Hello. Whatever username you enter, suppose you are here entering Mocha, right? So this Mocha you will get in the in this we have a special method G1. Us file में we have a special method. Can you see this? Load user by username. This is a special method. This method will be automatically called by Spring Security Framework because this is a callback method. You know callback method? Callback वो method होता है which is not called by the programmer. It is called by the framework.
So what is the
Callback
use
method.
of that?
When you hit it, whatever username you'll enter, Mocha. This Mocha will come to this. This method will be called by Spring Security. यहाँ पे आ जाएगा Mocha. Got it? Now in this we have code for DAO layer. It will go and talk to DAO layer. क्या कह रहे हो? Hey DAO, take my username and give me the detail of the user. You are not using password, right? Sir, reply karo.
Yeah,
You are
we are
not using
using the username. So
username.
it's comparing with the username and giving the
Username नहीं
fetching the
आएगा.
data and fetching the data.
इससे देख यहाँ पे username से you are fetching password from database plus you are fetching roles.
Yes.
So what you are doing after this? Using the username and password, right? So this username password you are setting inside the user object. Can you see this? यहाँ पे.
Yeah.
In this user object, you are setting, making user object, and in user में what information you are pushing? G1. When you make the user object, you are pushing 3 information in this.
Username, password, and roles.
Username,
Yes.
password, and role.
And roles.
ये
Yes.
डाल रहा. Password / roles. Right? Then you return
Yeah.
it, right? Like जब भी when you return username, password, and role, all the 3 were returning. So Spring Security internally matches username, password which you have filled in the form. and the username password which you have entered in here from fetching database. Who will do the comparison? Huh? Spring Security will do it internally.
Yes.
Spring Security do will internally. अब बता यहाँ पे कैसे match the password username which you have in database and role and the password username which you have entered over here. तो यहाँ पे you know when username password is validated you will not see this how comparison is done. यहाँ पे two option है. Either it is
Hmm.
fail, ना? Fail
Yes. Failed.
or success or pass.
Pass.
So you have to
So we
see
have only
when you fail
we have only put the username, right? Mukh only,
with the
and password and roles they
username
will just.
अबे user say you have fetched the password and roles also. So in this user you have both username password from database and role. और username password तो यहाँ से आ ही रहा है मिस्टर जीवन. तो comparison can be done. Okay.
Okay.
And
Got it?
Spring Security also has a user, right? Like a user class where we can verify the username and password there.
Exactly. User Spring Security always offer you this user object.
Yes,
So
yeah,
this
right,
this user is part of the Spring Security framework. That's correct.
right.
It is not defined by us. So you can use it. Now question is when it fails, what it does, when it succeeds, what it does. Let's see. You have to come to the configuration file, sir. Here you have fail and pass. Can you see this? Here, if it is fail, you have to go to customer login and
Login.
error request to true. Is URL where you have to redirect. My dear friends, where you have to redirect? Case of fail, deploy on this
Customer
URL,
login.
right? Customer login, error request to true. Or you can give some other URL, Arun. कुछ अच्छे से, it is up to you, right? कुछ भी दे सकता है. So it goes to you see same, and here you are passing error equals to true. Can you see this? When you pass error equals to true, your when you pass error equals to true, it will go to the message, right? If message is true, then you are adding message in the model. Arun, sorry, your username password is not correct.
Yes.
समझे? And you are going to the login.htm. this पे दिखा सकते हो. Mr. Hero, you enter it and you got it now. How it's coming?
Mhm.
Yes.
You got the
उसी में
whole
उसी
flow.
में उसी में दिखा सकते हैं और we can make the one pop-up
Yeah.
pop-up page
नहीं नहीं
or
नहीं नहीं ये तो standard है इसका, right? Or you can go to some other page. ना banking में
yes.
you will never see the pop-up kind of security purpose. So this is clear to you. When you enter username and password, it's failing and it goes to this logical URL, right? And logical URL may you are passing true, man. Yes, you know.
Yes.
If you're passing error key value in error, you see here I'm passing true. This error will go to this message, and you are adding the message error in the this and go to this. Now next, when username password is correct, then here we have default success URL. Where you have to go?
Nagendra, one question. So
Dashboard.
this username and password, like, sorry, your username is not correct. We can authenticate from the JavaScript too, right?
JavaScript say how you can do it. You have to make HxCall for that, right?
Or HxCall, yeah.
But HxCall we should not use, right? Normally I haven't seen that. Are you following me?
Yeah.
You'll do the way I'm doing.
Okay.
So like here, default success, when you go to the customer dashboard URL, Arun,
Yes.
customer/dashboard, you will go when your username password is correct and see what happened. Na? Customer dashboard. Say yes, it is defined here somewhere. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Hello. Like using this line, you can fetch your username and role anywhere. Arun, what I said? Using this line, you can fetch your name and role anywhere in the application. जहाँ भी चाहिए लग लो. Like I'm fetching the role, okay? Here from the authentication, I'm fetching the role. Here I'm fetching the username. Got it? Like here I'm computing the next page. Next page means role. Role will decide the next page. If your role is admin, Arun,
Yes.
इसमें you can take the decision, man. देख यहाँ पे next page.
Yes.
So here in case, case, switch case, no? But here, this code I'm not using. I'm sorry. This code is not being used. Arun, this code is unnecessarily. Which code I'm using? Here, I'm sorry about it. I'm using this username. Hey, do you know what is username? The username you have entered on the GUI, right? That username you can fetch anywhere in the application by using these two lines. What is it?
Mhm.
Using these two lines, you can fetch username anywhere. Got it? Hey, don't try to mug it. Don't try
No,
to remember it. Use
no, anywhere in the sense what? Where?
anywhere in the code. I
Okay,
just logged in and you want to get this username anywhere in the code. You can just write this line, two line, and you'll
oh,
get it.
okay, okay,
It is up to you, right? Like after it, this is not going to be used. I'm just going again in database Arun, and I'm fetching my login detail, right? All
all
my
right.
user sub. If this is present, then what I'm doing, I'm fetching my login detail. If my
All
account
right.
is logged, right? So I will be redirect to this URL pattern. On this URL pattern will be matched with some page, right? Arun? Well, logged.
Yeah.
When
Yes,
login, your status is logged. Yes, then you will go to this page. Like I'm just making my password blank. I don't want to set in the. Then I'm adding in session. You know session? Why? The most frequently accessed data you should put in the session.
yes. So
Why?
again and again,
So
you don't need
yeah,
to hit the database and get the
yeah,
information.
yep. This is the part of the session management.
Yeah.
After that, in switch for this login, which I'm getting for this user, I'm just fetching the role. Arun,
Yes.
I'm fetching role. It is giving you the list. From list, I'm getting first element. If it is employee, I'm saying you have to go to the employee dashboard. If it is customer, you
Go
have
to
to
the
go to the
customer
customer
dashboard.
dashboard. If it is admin, go to the admin dashboard. Or like
So define the roles and it'll, yeah. Once the
in case
define
of
the role,
customer, role is defined in database, role table. So you
yeah.
know it.
Uh-huh.
So like here, if your last login type null means you are login first time. Remember, in case of customer, it is enforcing you to go to some security questions. If you remember.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So the here what I'm doing is view name is customer security question, and I'm fetching security questions on all logic. So first time when you are getting customer and customer is going to log in first time, and because of this code, it is enforcing you to enter security questions. So when security question is correct, and it is then enforcing you to enter change the password. Hmm? Got it? Oh yeah. This is all about authentication, right? Your question is once you are authenticated, Mr. Arun, all
Mm-hmm.
the roles of all your roles are loaded in your context, right? Your question is, I'm authenticated. How I'll be authorized? For authorization, you can do in two ways, Arun. First,
Mm-hmm.
you can do in the mapping. देखा था, for authorization, can you see this? Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody is typing admin in the URL, he must have admin role. If somebody is typing employee, he must have employee or admin role, right? This is called authorization,
Yes.
right? And this authorization you can set at code level also, at method level also. Let me show you if I have some. I put it, but I know I did it. Only the people who has that role he can call it, nobody else. Where we have, I don't know. I'm trying to get it. Yeah, on the employee. Bad luck.
Ye-
No, I have some, but I don't know. What do you call it? Let me search it. Authorized. Just looking. Just fine. Otherwise, I need to write some. In search. Thing I have in this. Can you see this? Why is not coming in search? That's cheating. No? Hello. It still is not coming. Can you see this?
Yes.
Arun?
Yes.
Like if somebody wants to call this method after authentication, what role you should have? Employee.
Yes.
So you got my point? So this you can implement authorization with the help of a notation, and you can do with configuration file. Is clear to you guys, or you got confused? Like here it is URL based, right? You are saying all the URL which is preceding with admin, it should have admin role. But you can do this authorization at granular level by using this annotation also. I hope I'm making myself clear. Pre-authorized, right? So when you call this method, Arun, after authentication only you will come to this, right? Once your
Yes.
username password is correct, you will come to here. Then it will say, hey,
Yeah.
do you have implied role? If not,
Yes.
if not, if not, then then where you will go already it is defined in the file. If you are not, you don't have, you are not authorized. So here it's mentioned here. Can you see this? Access denied page. Arun, it will
Yes.
redirect to /access denied, and /access denied also you have mapped. When this come in the picture, /access denied, you are going to which page?
The
Customer
customer.
access denied.html page. Done. So this is all about Spring Security. I'm stop.